I'm recording on my end.
All right, you ready to let the magic happen?
Let's get it. Let's hit it.
Hold on, let me get my phone charged because that's where all my picks are.
Yeah, it's a good thing this will be fast because I have, let's see, 68% and 40% on my laptop and cell phone, respectively. Oh, I almost forgot. It's St. Patty's Day. I can drink a beer.
Should I have a beer for this?
It is up to you. If you want to grab a beer and we can have a drink on St. Patty's for, social drinking. I did have a Budweiser earlier. They had like a shit ton of not free alcohol, but cheap alcohol. And we didn't have space in our fridge. So I drank a 6-month-old Budweiser.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's all I've got so far.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest, hottest pod in the game of podcasting. We are the Spiked Boys of college football that you know oh so well from that old network that we will not talk about. We are now on a new network. Me and Spiked Rob are on a new network. Spike Johnny B coming live from the Palindrome. I don't know. That's what I'm calling the place. Look at this. It's a sports mecca. I got the madness in the background. We are the Bracket Boys. We love brackets. It's March Madness. We are on the Iron Ostrich network now, and we are doing nothing but brackets for the whole summer. And Rob, what's the best way to kick off? Because we're in Florida. Summer's already started. What's the best way to kick off? What's the best bracket to start our new venture into? Everybody loves drafts and everybody loves brackets. There's already a podcast out there that's doing a great job with snake drafts on that really big network that we're nowhere near. So we're going to do brackets.
That's right.
And what's the greatest bracket in the history of the world?
The greatest bracket every year, well, except for last year, but we're not going to talk about last year either. March Madness is the bracket. I'm going to be channeling Dickie V. It's the diaper dandies.
Baby with a capital A. There we go. Dipsy doo, Dunkaroo. He's a diaper dandy.
There it is.
That wasn't terrible.
I mean, it wasn't bad. Well, we've met him. I mean, we love Dickie V. He lives around here. I mean, we literally run into him at our buddy's restaurant, every couple months? I don't know. So he's awesome. We love him. We'll do free advertising for Dickie V any day. But yeah, this is going to be super fun because it's always fun to do March Madness brackets, and we're going to rapid fire go through this.
This is our new podcast on the Iron Ostrich Network, is to do the ultimate bracket. We will be doing brackets all summer on everybody's hottest favorite topics. People will be coming on, people will be going off. We are the main two guys. We are Spiked Rob and we are Spiked Johnny B. We are the main two, so we figured we'd keep it simple, let you guys get to know us. If anybody wants to, maybe we might have some people hop in and on. We don't know. It's a very busy time. It's St. Patrick's Day. But here we go. This is going to be our first bracket with the Bracket Boys. All we do is pick and we move in advance because there is literally nothing better. Then look at this, Rob. Look at the clean. It's just a clean. It's a very sexual thing for me because it's just clean. It's nice, and then you get to write it in. I don't know. I've been doing brackets since I literally remember 2003 when Syracuse. I got the paper, like the Times Herald record, and I would write it in, and I had it. My mom still has it hung and framed when Syracuse went all the way with Carmel. It's just we've always been doing brackets. I used to run a pool in high school. In high school, I was running a fucking bracket pool because I'm a degenerate and I wanted people to win money on a bracket. It's just brackets are as American as apple pie, missionary position, and Budweiser.
I don't even know how to respond to that because I'm pretty sure at least two of those things aren't American, but that's all right. That's all right. And that means that everyone loves brackets. This is international, man. This is something that everyone can get behind in terms of the form, the structure, take a huge crowd and bring it down.
I think the main part of the bracket is just the writing into the winner. It's like, It's such a cool thing to like write in.
Absolutely. I mean, just having, like I said, just kind of, it's like refining it down, right? Distilling it down to one champion. Even if it's messy along the way, it's madness along the way, at least we can see the progress.
And we have done a couple of episodes we recorded, so there'll be a lot of messiness. But this, we're going to start it off. It is the March Madness bracket. It is the men's March Madness. This will be our first glimpse into what me and Rob's heads are thinking, so you can get involved with us. And we're going to pick the entire bracket today.
Yeah, we are.
And we're going to start on the west side. The 1 versus the 16. The 1-16. We don't know who the 16 is yet. We haven't played the play-in game. It's Norfolk State versus Appalachian State. Rob, who do you think wins that game first?
Well, I'm going to go for Norfolk State because if you guys watch the Spiked podcast, we have a kind of built-in prejudice against Appalachian State after they snubbed our boy. So, we can never willingly root for
podcast, so we're going to obviously be rooting against Appalachian State in every single sport. Sorry, if you want to come on and we can be bought. We're not, we can be bought. If
you have to be as cool as Jeff,
but we can be bought. But
yeah, you have to be at least as cool as our buddy Jeff and his mom. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to sell.
Norfolk State did pull an upset in the tournament a few years ago as a 15 seed. They upset it too. So I will pick Norfolk State to beat Appalachian State, but not that it matters because I'm doing our bracket as we go. No free ads, ESPN bracket. I'm going to pick Gonzaga.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We're not even going to discuss we'll get into more detail in players and stuff like that as the matchups go on.
Yeah. But let's just put it this way. This year is going to be really crazy just in terms of the matchups and who can win. But I don't think this is going to be a repeat of, the Terriers over the Cavaliers. I don't think a 16 is upsetting a 1 this year. So let's just, put that out front.
Right. All right. So let's go to the next one, Rob. What's the next matchup?
Number 8 Oklahoma versus number 9 Mizzou.
Now, here's my thoughts on this. Oklahoma has lost their last 4 games, but people going into the tournament are like, you got to get hot. You got to win your conference tournament.
Right. If you say not so fast, my friend, I'm going to.
Only 2 teams have won the tournament after winning their conference tournament in the last 15 years. And one was Louisville in 2013, and they don't count because that's not a real championship because they cheated. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Austin Reeves in Oklahoma. They're a very well-rounded basketball team. They played in one of the toughest conferences.
That is true.
I do believe Missouri is a good team. I don't know too much about them. I'm not going to lie. We are not basketball experts, but I do know Austin Reeves is a stud, and I'm going to take Oklahoma in the round of 64.
So what I'm going to put a lot of weight on that you can do in basketball more than you can, say, football is not only your BPI rank. I mean, obviously that's important, but the strength of schedule, whatever. The biggest thing to me is how many top 25 teams have you played against and then how well you've done against them. So Mizzou did pretty well. They went 4-2. They played 6 top 25 seeds, throughout the
but one of them was Tennessee, and they don't count.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get there. But Mizzou played twice as many top 25 teams, and they went 5-7. And they played double, in my opinion, just high level competition. So if they're not prepared, if they're not tempered by that fire, then I don't know what is. They went about 500 against a really good team.
But you meant Oklahoma, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Mizzou went 4-2 and Oklahoma went 5-7. They played twice as many top 25 teams. So that means a lot to me.
Because the Big 12 conference was probably the best conference in basketball this year.
Yeah.
Definitely top 2.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Which is unusual. I mean, it's like the polar opposite of, their football. Anyway. So I agree with you. I think that Oklahoma's definitely got like I said, the experience, the miles to show up and be like, we're not scared of Missouri. So I think that's a great pick. So the next one is number 5 Creighton versus, I believe, UC Santa Barbara.
Well, I'm going to go now. Creighton, I would usually pick them here, but I like UC Santa Barbara because, like I said, I didn't watch too much college basketball this year, but I did listen to some experts. They are the Big West champs. They're an 18-1 in 2021 in the last 19 games. Also, they have a lot of transfers from bigger schools, and they can hit the 3. And they actually have what one guy described, I think it was John Rothstein, big picker, on the PMT show. They have an AAC lineup in the Big West. So I'm going to take UC Santa Barbara with an upset over Creighton.
So normally I would say, I mean, UC Santa Barbara didn't play anybody with like.
Also, the show Psych.
You're going to get me every time with that. I mean, here's the thing. UC Santa Barbara didn't play a team that even was like top 75 throughout the season. So that normally would count against, what I'm thinking they're able to do, because this is going to be the big time for them for sure. But you're right. I mean, the thing that I'm going to point out here and probably point out again later, if we feel like they have a shot at upsetting other people down the road, based on what I'm seeing, they have one of the best free throw shooting percentages of any team in the tournament. And that doesn't matter who you play against. If you can shoot free throws, no one's there to block you. It's just you in the basket. If you can knock those down, the Uconn Huskies will agree that you can win entire tournaments by just the strength of your free throw shooting down the stretch, as long as you can keep it close.
And let's have a disclaimer, because everybody who's listening, we're not experts. I've watched maybe 50 games all year.
More than me.
But we will pick our teams, and I guarantee you we'd be great because we have a vast knowledge of sports, and I love brackets, and I usually finish very well. Just a disclaimer before everybody jumps on our dick.
I mean, you should, and tell us why we're wrong. We love that, because this is why we do this shit.
I like to argue, and he's a lawyer.
I'm a lawyer. It's my fucking profession. But also, like, we argue with each other all the time, and it gets boring. Honestly, I love Johnny, but I would love to argue with somebody else for a change. So come at me, bro.
So this is actually, just to clarify, this is going to be mine and Rob's bracket together.
Right.
So I'll concede some to him. He'll concede some to me if we're going to argue. But so far, we've been pretty chalk. Rob, are we going to continue chalk here with Virginia versus Ohio? Give me some facts. I know you got some facts.
It's got to be Virginia, man. I mean, I get it. They don't score at all. They also don't let people score. They don't score. Like, they don't let people 60 points a game is what they allow. They only score about 68, so that's why they're a 4 seed this year. But I think, first of all, best record in the ACC, which should mean something, even though the ACC definitely had a down year, not a great, year for the ACC overall in basketball. I can't look at this team and say that Ohio is going to come after them and rack up tons and tons of points, not after, I would say, a bruising schedule that ACC has been for Virginia, for everyone.
I think I'm going to do this a lot. I've been watching a lot of coverage on basketball lately, the last couple of days, listen to podcasts. Ohio is like a sexy pick. So when a lot of people are on upset, I fade it. So I think Virginia goes through.
Here's the other thing. After being the number 1 overall seed and getting knocked out by a 16 seed, the only one in history, I will be shocked if anyone who ever decides to go play Virginia basketball does not know that that's like they're the upset, target of all upset targets. I would be shocked.
With a national title, but that'll always still be there. They're the only team to ever happen.
Right. I mean, they won the title the next year, but it doesn't matter because anyone for the next decade who goes to Virginia and willingly plays basketball for Virginia knows that people are expecting them to get booted in the first round, no matter what seed they are, no matter what it is. The expectation is, you go to Virginia, you're always an upset favorite, or rather an upset target to be the one upset. So I feel like I just do not see Virginia dropping this against Ohio because it's the first round. And like I said, they play tough defense always, and I just don't see Ohio coming out and scoring buckets and buckets. Like, I think it's going to be in the 60s, and I think Virginia wins that game.
Okay. Next game, play-in game, Wichita State, Drake. We're not going to pick it. We'll just go to who they're playing. Rob, do you think either of those two teams can beat USC? I'm going to hit you with a little bit of facts and knowledge.
Go for it.
They did lose to Colorado 3 times, USC. Colorado's a good team.
Yeah.
But they also blew out BYU, blew out Oregon, and beat UCLA twice, and beat UConn, and only lost by 3 to UConn.
Yeah, they did not lose to UConn.
4 teams. That's who they beat. And they have a stud freshman in Mobley. and stud freshmen in the tournament can either make you or break you. I think it's going to make them here, and I like USC to advance in this matchup.
So here's what I'm going to say. I think that whoever wins that 11 seed matchup and how they perform will make a big difference. But I will back you right now and say that USC's got this. I feel like the way that those two teams play, because it's not a 16 seed play-in, right? It's an 11 seed play-in, and we've got another play-in game that's going to be, huge. How they play could very well be a huge difference in
because that could bring momentum to that game. You're right.
Maybe this is just my bias from past years talking, but if Wichita State wins that game against Drake, I see them causing problems for USC. And again, mostly just the freshmen. If they can keep him contained, I think they have a more than good shot for doing it. But A, they have to still beat Drake, who's not going to just roll over for them. And B, you're right. USC's definitely got a good enough resume to say that they've got this first round. So I'll go with that. Now they're going to play the winner of number 3 Kansas versus number 14 East Washington. So
Eastern Washington, this game I'm taking the over. Eastern Washington can score buckets.
Yeah, they can.
And teams that can score buckets in the tournament are scary. I'm going to let you pick this one for us because I've been picking. You go ahead.
Okay. So, man.
Kansas hasn't really, and they had the COVID, so they might not even be there. So that's why I know who I like, but I'm not going to make that pick because it is a huge upset. So if you want to go Kansas, we can go Kansas. We can go chalk. We can go rock chalk. Jayhawk.
I'm not going to do it. Two things. One is Kansas having issues with the COVID, and I was looking for the stat, and I found it. Eastern Washington, besides scoring buckets, also is just under 80% free throw shooting as a team. If they're throwing up numbers left and right, and it comes down to the end of the game because either team can make a run, I think Eastern Washington, they get a couple fouls, they drain, again, even 4 out of 5 free throws down the stretch. I think that they can pull it off. Now, part of it will be because of the COVID.
We're picking Eastern Washington.
We're going to pick Eastern Washington.
Do that.
I mean, it's a 14 seed over a 3. It's not that big a deal.
Okay, but that's a blue blood, big blue blood.
Oh, whatever. We got blue bloods in playing games this year. I mean, everything left. We're in the upside down. Like left is right and up is down. So what do you got for me next?
We have Oregon versus VCU. Rob, thoughts?
Well, they honestly are very, very similar teams, like shockingly similar, in my opinion, in terms of their stats, in terms of their records. I mean, yeah, that's a 7 versus 10, but this could be an 8 versus 9 any day of the week. So I think, oh man,
I think we should just go by quality of wins. So let's quality wins.
Oregon beat Colorado. Oregon, I see you.
Colorado, they beat UCLA and they beat Seton Hall. VCU beat St. Bonaventure,
Once.
Utah State, St. Louis. I think we should pick Oregon just because they've beaten more teams in the tournament, and I think that's the only reason why we pick them.
I mean, that makes sense. Like I said, versus top 25 teams are both 0-1. So, I think that Oregon should take it. It really depends on whether they can crack VCU's defense. That's what it's been, as it even says here in the ESPN app. Since the days of Shaka Smart, if you can break VCU's defense, you're good. They've got a good defense.
And Oregon does have good guard play.
They do. And so as long as it holds up, I'm down with that. I'm okay with that.
So we are moving to the next matchup, which is Iowa versus Grand Canyon.
The last one in the West.
And we will not be picking that really because Iowa will be moving on.
Sorry, Grand Canyon.
Congratulations on your first ever tournament bid.
Yes. Enjoy it. I hope you guys have a lot of fun, but just, play your hearts out and prove us wrong. But otherwise, we're not picking you guys.
Now, to the eastern side of the bracket, Michigan versus the winner of Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern. We're not going to get in depth into this one either. We're just going to move Michigan on. Even though they're coming off a loss, we'll just move Michigan
Go Mount St. Mary's to make it into that game to actually lose.
Next matchup, another tough one. LSU versus the Bonnies of upstate New York, St. Bonaventure.
Yep. So this is but unlike the other tough pick where they were like identical in terms of stats, this is polar opposite. You've got a team that's averaging over 80 points a game in LSU, and you have a team on the other side who's holding opponents to 60.4 points a game. I mean, these are polar opposite teams. I personally like St. Bonaventure. I like the way that they play basketball a lot better than LSU. I think it shows up, and they have very similar BPI.
See, my problem is, though, they lost Alabama 3 times. They beat Arkansas twice. They beat Tennessee. They beat Missouri, and they beat Ole Miss. Like, they play this flip-flop. Am I hot? Am I not? And I think it's great that they lost to Alabama coming into the tournament, because I think they can make a run. They are very athletic. They're very long.
The definition of a hot and cold team, though, like if they're hot, I agree.
And they do have Cameron Thomas, who should have won MVP of the SEC league this year. He didn't. I mean, when you're averaging almost 23 points a game in college, and you're in the tournament, what does tournament make? They make tournament winners have the player, they have the guy, they have the Kemba, the Carmelo. Bonaventure doesn't have a guy. LSU has a guy.
He does. Well, but so here's the thing. I'm not expecting Bonaventure to go deep in the tournament. I'm expecting Bonaventure to put up a really strong challenge at the beginning. Kind of like when Uconn almost got knocked out. They went to like double overtime in the first round the year that they won as a 8-9 seed. They almost got knocked out in the first round by one of the other Catholic schools. And after that, they rolled. You know, once Kemba got past that first round kind of jitters and they played really tough D on him and they shut him down and they played it tight, by getting past that, it helped that team, Uconn, find its groove, and they just rolled through everybody else to the final. So I think that the same thing could happen here. I just don't know if LSU is going to pull it off, because I mean, 80 points a game and you're going 2-5 against ranked opponents, like top 25 opponents. That means you go cold at bad times. So I don't know, man. It's a toss up to me. You pick whichever one you want. I think if LSU wins, they roll.
No, we'll let the fates decide. We will be doing rock, paper, scissors, shoot over Zoom, and 2 out of 3. You're Bonaventure, I'm LSU. That's the only diplomatic way to do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
No, that was
rock, paper. Wait, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, you got me. Oh.
LSU and a nail biter. LSU wins in a nail biter. We're gonna pick it because that's democratic. We are a democratic. We love democracy here, and we will be moving LSU through.
My goodness. All right, now the next one. The next with that, we thought that one was tight. Talk to me about this next matchup. Number 5 Colorado versus number 12 Georgetown. This is.
I will give you. This is an easy pick for me.
Really?
Move Colorado on. Colorado has played a lot better teams. Yes. Did Patrick Ewing and them get hot? Yes. The Big East is trash. Trash. Absolute garbage. And Colorado has been battle tested all year. Billy, actually, my cousin, does go there. And they have the play. They have the guard play and the front court to make a deep run if they're playing well. Right. And I think they get off to a good start against Georgetown, who everybody and their mother is picking this 12 to win. Everybody online is Georgetown, Patrick Ewing, off the big win. Colorado is going to probably win this game by 10 points.
Wow. Okay. I'm not going to fight you on it. I just, with Georgetown, with the hype, right? The hype.
The hype's going to kill them.
That's fair. I mean, I do look at that 7-9 in Big East conference play is gross.
Especially that's not a good Big East at all.
No. So There's one team that I do like from the Big East, but that's because I always like them. And Georgetown did lose to them twice. But yeah, I like Colorado because they have all the pieces. They just better show up, man. Their free throw shooting failed them in their tournament, in their conference tournament. So if it fails them here, I do think they're going to get out, and it's going to be painful to watch. But it should not happen.
I'm very excited for this matchup because, go ahead, Rob. What's the next matchup?
So it's Florida State with a 4 seed versus UNC, I believe, Greenville.
Yes, UNC Greensboro.
Greensboro, my bad. Mm-hmm. Didn't they have Greenville?
Well, do you have any thoughts on this game?
They haven't played in. I didn't even know it was Greenville or Greensboro. If it's Greensboro, they've played 3 teams. Oh, well, they've played 3 games against teams that are in the top 75, and they lost to Winthrop, and then they split with Furman. So, like, this to me is not a shocking.
Okay, but remember how I said teams don't want to come in hot?
Mm-hmm.
Florida State is ice cold. They just not ice cold, but they just lost the ACC tournament. They've lost a lot of games that they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the exact opposite of the sexy pick is why I think we should take Greensboro here, because everybody has Florida State just rolling through, and I don't know. I don't know. I will pick Florida State here, but I'm telling you, I kind of like the Greensboro.
Okay. You know what? If Florida State, as they do, looks past this team, that I absolutely agree with you that it could be an upset. I don't see Florida State doing that because they lost in the ACC tournament, a tournament that really.
We'll move Florida State on barely.
That's fine. I mean, if they do lose, we'll call them out right now. Isaiah Miller is apparently the guy for
Greensboro. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like their top scorer, their best defensive player in the conference.
Yeah.
So that could be a great upset that nobody's picking because of the name on Florida State's jersey.
Maybe. I mean, again, that happens a lot with Florida State in all sports, but I think if he were a guy, so if Isaiah Miller was a guy who shoots the lights out, is just outside guard play all day, yeah, maybe. All you have to do is get hot and, I don't know, Jimmer Fredette that shit. It's going to be hard to block you. But when you're a big guy inside, I'm worried that he's not going to be able to keep it up for the whole game because he will get worn down. They got a lot of big bodies in Florida State. We'll see. So that's the only thing where I feel like he has to absolutely dominate everyone on Florida State for the entire.
He has to. What was the guy from Morehead State? Played in the league forever. What the hell is it? Farouk. I forgot who. But yeah, he has to dominate. All right, so Florida State barely goes by. We'll move them on. Next matchup: BYU versus BYU either versus UCLA or Michigan State. Any thoughts on the play-in game? The big blue blood play-in game?
There
is an old saying. I'll give you this. It's January, February, Izzo, April. That's the old saying. There was also another stat that, except for 2 years, if you were a freshman at Michigan State, by the time you were a senior, except for 2 classes, you would have made a Final Four under Tom Izzo.
Mm-hmm.
Going back 25 years. January, February, Izzo, April. I like Michigan State to win this.
Well, they got to beat UCLA first.
That's what I'm saying. I like Michigan State to beat UCLA.
I got you. I agree with that. You can't. The beauty about Izzo is that he puts up tough games all season on purpose. He wants to get his guys ready. He tries to make them tournament ready because he knows what it's all about. It's about being tournament ready. And there's very few coaches that do that on a regular basis. Sorry, Coach K, I don't think you try to do that on a regular basis. And that's fine, whatever. But since we're talking about brackets, we're talking about this tournament. Izzo is a guy you can't vote against. But so that's the question. Do you think that they're going to beat BYU? Say they beat UCLA. I have no problem with that. Do you think that BYU is going to lose to Michigan State in this game?
I do.
Okay. And why is that?
Because they have one win against a good team. They beat San Diego State, and that's it.
Well, they lost to Gonzaga 3 times.
But then they also lost to USC. They lost to Boise State.
No, I get that.
I like the Big Ten, Michigan State.
Okay. See, I just don't see BYU screwing this up, but I'm willing to bend on this one, but I feel like I've got a trump card for the next one's coming up.
Okay, you're up, bud. Next round, next game's yours.
So we've got Texas versus Abilene Christian. I honestly don't see anything for Abilene to hang their hat on. I mean, they play strong defense, but I just don't know if they can.
For me, it's Texas easy.
Yeah, I don't know if they can hang. That's the biggest thing. This is where Shaka Smart ended up. So,
You already had a 14-3. I think this is a chalk Texas by 20.
Got it. Okay. So this is where I pulled the card. This next one, we are picking Uconn for this fucking game.
I like Uconn. Actually, I'm actually going through one of my brackets right now, and we have picked every single one that I've picked.
Well, there you go.
I like Uconn here.
I mean, here's the thing. Maryland's got a great resume, except for losing to Michigan 3 times. But first of all, I can't pick against my Huskies at this point. And second of all, they once again, in my opinion, have a formula to be a really tough out. A really, really tough out. Great defense. And the only thing is that their free throw shooting isn't, top notch, but they will play it tough all the way down to the end. I think I hope that Maryland misses their buzzer beater and UConn moves on, but I'm saying that that's what we're picking because I get one veto a show and that's mine.
No, I had them going through anyway.
I know. All right, and the last one in that round or that corner of the bracket, Alabama versus Iona, a 2 seed for Alabama. My goodness.
Do you want my honest thoughts on this game?
Go for it.
I like Iona to win. You want to know why?
Why?
Rick Pitino. And they have a senior guard who can score 30 points, and he's done it 5 times this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Rick Pitino because of everybody gives him shit, cheating. He's not Calipari. Calipari just literally cheats. Pitino cheats and can coach his fucking ass off. 5 teams to the NCAA tournament. 3 teams to the Final Four.
Well, do you think Iona's going to the Final Four?
I like a huge upset here.
Okay. Well, you know what?
You know what? You can go with whatever you want. If you just say Alabama, like stop, I will go with you. I get it, 100%. But that was my Pitino deserves some respect on the name.
Okay, so my only thing is Iona has played 17 games and Alabama's played 30. So my question is, when we're doing this, we talk about this in Spiked all the time. If you don't play the games, do you really get the respect? But does it help them here? This is now the second time that Alabama will be playing a team that has played less games in, we'll say, playoff, whatever, championship play. 2 different sports, I grant you. But does that mean that Iona is going to be fresher and keep up with them more? Or does that mean that they're just not ready to go? Because that is a huge difference in number of games. So I don't know. I'm willing to go with the upset here because it's Alabama. I'm always willing to go with that.
You make the call. That was my argument. If you like the argument, if you think that was not me pandering, that was me literally telling you how I feel.
Right.
I love Pitino. He's not Calipari to me. He is did he do nefarious things? Yeah, but they all did. He got caught and was a scapegoat because they couldn't get Coach K.
Right.
But I think Pitino is an actual amazing coach.
I mean, to be fair, I think Coach K is an amazing coach, but I get that he took the fall.
As a Duke fan, I think Pitino's better.
Well, you know what? If he pulls off this upset, I will 100% agree with you. You will never hear me say anything different. So let's go for it. And like I said, I do think Alabama's a little inflated in terms of their seed. but it is tough for me to pick a 15 over a 2, but let's do it. Fuck it. Whatever. YOLO. Anyway.
Let it fly.
So,
and like I said, it's not just an upset because they do have a guy on their team that is a senior guard that has scored over 30 points in 5 games. That, like I said, that means you can take over a game. And if you can take over one game, like that stupid movie, one time, Little Giants, one time.
I'm down with it. I'm down with it. This is
Danny
more for all of our
only beat
haters.
Kevin. Danny only beat Kevin down Cherry Hill one time, but that's all it took. If you get that reference, let me know.
I mean, you just said it. But anyway, so like I said, it's rare to see Alabama ranked as a 2 seed, and I don't know if this may be the only time we see Alabama ranked as a 2 seed. We'll see. All right. We're moving to the South. Baylor versus Hartford.
Baylor.
Congrats, Hartford, on making it to the, I mean, that's
first time ever.
Yeah, first time ever. Which I actually know more about Hartford's women's basketball team, different story. But it's nice to see 2 Connecticut teams make it into the tournament. All right. North Carolina versus Wisconsin. Talk about some blue bloods. 8 and 9 seeds.
The national championship game a few years ago.
National championship game a few years ago. Now they're playing second fiddle to Baylor. So what do you think?
On name alone, I'm going UNC.
Okay.
Unless you can talk me out of it if you have stats or you have anything else.
No, I mean, you know what it is? Normally Wisconsin throws everybody for a loop because they're not used to them, but obviously UNC knows what they're dealing with. They haven't changed the formula. Wisconsin plays, they're the tortoise of every tournament. And so I think UNC has what it takes to take them down. I do have just a sneaking, like, I don't know, the suspicion that the winner of this game, like, kind of gets that, like that year Kentucky and Uconn played each other where they're both 8 and 9 seeds, and you let the blue bloods in, and all of a sudden now they start wreaking havoc on the bracket. But that's for the next round discussion. Number 5, Villanova versus Winthrop.
You go ahead.
Once again, Winthrop's big win is against UNC Greensboro, and they also beat Furman. I know Villanova's from a weak-ass Big East conference.
And one of their best players is out for COVID. Again, I'm going with the opposite of sexy. I like Winthrop here.
Well, they also lost, not just COVID. The guy has a knee injury that ended his season.
They've only lost one time this year. That's a hot team.
I mean, I'm not going to be mad about it. Injuries are huge.
I just read, like I said, we're doing our research as we go. They play 11 guys regularly.
Well, that's good when they play in the tournament. But
their point guard is 6'7" and has 3 triple. No, Winthrop wins in a landslide here. Give Winthrop.
Let's get on board. Fuck everybody else. We're going hardcore. What even conference are they from? Because now we've picked 2 teams from the same fucking conference.
I think they're from the SoCon. Yeah, they're from the SoCon.
So we're picking two teams from SoCon.
Let's go. We're the new SoCon. Listen, in the spiked football, we're the Sun Belt. Now we're the SoCon. At least we keep it in the Southeast, Rob.
I mean, that's true. We're nothing if not a Southeast pod. All right.
Pandering. We're definitely pandering to our demographic.
Which is what you should do with this demographic.
Yes.
All right. Number 4, Purdue versus number 13, North Texas.
I think this is Purdue. They played in a great conference. They do have a lot of losses, but they have losses to teams like Michigan, Illinois, Iowa. They beat Ohio State twice. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Maryland. I like Purdue. I mean,
I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game.
I think the first team to 42 wins.
A lot of misses, a lot of putbacks. This is going to be a bunch of tall guys beating each other up. That's why we love basketball. All right, I'll go with Purdue.
You can go ahead and say it. Slow white guys.
On both sides of the ball. All right. Our next one, Texas Tech at number 6 versus USU Utah State. So I see Texas Tech getting just beat up in Big 12 competition. So the question is, does that carry over to they can beat up on another team just like they were beaten up, like the typical bully mentality, or what?
I'm gonna go against the non-sexy pick, which everyone's picking Texas Tech, and they're picking them. A lot of people are.
Mm-hmm.
Utah State is led by juniors and seniors, but they do have a young freshman. We shouldn't be picking this many upsets, but COVID. I like Utah State.
So everybody's saying this is a sexy pick for Texas Tech, because when you say that, I feel like
everybody likes Tech. No. Yeah, everybody likes Texas Tech because they like the next matchup against Arkansas because they played each other this year.
Gotcha.
And like that's I like Utah State because of the reverse negative.
So here's what I'm going to put out there. And again, this is for me to convince you to change your pick.
Okay.
Utah State has big players, veteran leadership, all of that stuff. They got crushed by VCU. They got crushed by a team who can play defense. Because if you don't get, if you're not overpowered or cowed by the fact that they've got a 7-footer and they've got all this, leadership and stuff like that, I don't think this team, I don't know, because I have not seen them play.
I'm taking Texas Tech.
Okay. That's what I'm concerned about, because Texas Tech has a very good defense. Scoring defense, because they have fast guards, but just defense.
I'll take Texas Tech.
Okay. All right.
Because they have good guard. They have good guard play.
And like I said, I think the speed will kill them if they do play good defense against USU. They will cause turnovers, and they will get a lot of easy buckets. But maybe they won't. We'll see. It is going to be about ball possession for that game for sure. Now, the matchup that people are looking forward to, we've got Arkansas versus Colgate, who has one loss, but they're 14-1. They've only played 15 games. And Arkansas, another SEC team, playing almost 30.
They are number one in both offensive field goal percentage and defensive field goal percentage against. They don't let people shoot threes on them. Colgate is going to be in a very aggressive hard out. I think Arkansas does it. I really do, because I think they are a great team, and I think they'll go pretty far in the tournament if they win this game.
Yeah.
I think this might be their toughest game.
It'll be one that if they overlook it, then they will be.
Won't, because they've heard all the rumors. Everybody knows that this is one of the toughest games.
Yeah. I mean, they better be ready. I can never tell with SEC teams if they actually have listened to stuff or not. Like, I just can't tell with them at all.
I think we should take Arkansas, but I think we should make a note saying this will be their toughest game until the Elite Eight.
And we did take Texas Tech, which again, people were looking at that. So we'll come back to that. I'm fine with Arkansas. I'm very interested in that game though, because I like what I'm seeing from Colgate, just in terms of the pace and everything else. It should be an exciting game no matter what. That's what I'm hoping to see, is just dynamic play on both sides of the court. So our next matchup, number 7, Florida versus number 10, Virginia Tech. These teams look really similar, except that Virginia Tech has beaten all four of the top. Game of,
like, these are like blue, like, big schools that I just couldn't give two shits less about. Just both boring teams.
Yes.
Like, boring teams. But Virginia Tech is 4-0 versus the top 25.
Well, who were their top 25? They beat Villanova. They beat Virginia. They lost by a boatload to Syracuse. Lost to North Carolina.
Beat Clemson when Clemson was ranked.
They beat Clemson when Clemson was ranked. They lost to Georgia Tech by 16. So then you've got Florida losing to Alabama. Makes sense. Losing to Arkansas. Makes sense. Went 1 of 3 against Tennessee. Got beat up by Florida State. Makes sense. I don't know. They beat West Virginia.
We can pick Virginia Tech because of your pure hatred for Florida.
I mean, I always love to see Florida struggle, more so than Florida State even, which is surprising. But Either way, I don't think they beat the winner of the next game, which is Ohio State versus Oral Roberts. I think Ohio State's going to win that game. So we'll say Virginia Tech wins to go on and lose to Ohio State. I mean, either that or we can pick Florida to have them go, get beat up by Ohio State as very, very small compensation for the football national championship game from, a couple decades ago at this point. All right, let's go to the last part of the bracket, first round. Illinois versus Drexel.
Do we have to talk about it?
No. Well, I will. This will be a good point for me to mention that I went to Illinois for law school. This is the best I've ever seen Illinois. The last time I saw them,
this is the best since Dee Brown and Darren Williams.
Yeah. The last time I saw them where they were poised to make a deep run, they lost to, I believe, West Virginia, who's in the same bracket with them. So I foresee that being a rematch of some kind, wildly different coach. But hey, some things stick in your mind. Now, the next matchup is always fun. Loyola of Chicago with, I believe, Sister Mary and Georgia Tech, number 9. Of course she'll be at the game. Of course she'll be at the game.
I want to pick Loyola here, but I watched that Georgia Tech win over Florida State, and Alvarado is a fucking beast of a guard, and he wanted to be there, and I love their coach. I forgot his name. Capel, young guy.
They're tough. They're a tough team. Just Georgia Tech
is a gritty team. Georgia Tech is a gritty team. Convince me to take Loyola Chicago, or I'm going to go with Georgia Tech.
So I am going to say, first of all, Sister Mary's going to be at the game. And if you believe in motivation or divine intervention, then they should be able to pull this off against Georgia Tech. But also, Illinois in the Midwest playing against Loyola Chicago is like the most Illinois thing that's ever happened in the tournament. And I would love to see that, just because you're going to get so much flack. I don't even know. The whole state's going to be divided by religion, kind of, because we do have there are a lot of Catholics in Illinois. So I don't know. So
based on what you want the most, we're going to pick Loyola Chicago.
Well, and I think Georgia Tech will absolutely prove us wrong and probably beat Loyola and Illinois. Who fucking knows? But because I do agree with you on that, and I like that. I'm picking with the heart.
We can pander to the Midwest. It's fine.
Well, there's really no one from Illinois around here anyway, so it's just me by myself. But I guess that's my real veto pick. And it wasn't the Uconn pick. You already picked that shit. So this is my veto pick of, wouldn't it be something if you had Loyola of Chicago play Illinois basically in Chicago? So with that said, we've got number 5 Tennessee versus Oregon State.
Tennessee is not a very good team, but everybody and their mother is taking Oregon State here because of their run through the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's picking them.
Yep.
And what do I always do, Rob? I fade the public.
Yes, you do.
Remember, there's only 2 religions. There's public and Catholic. And the Catholic makes most of the money anyway. So I will be taking Tennessee.
And you've now gone against both of those religions.
Yeah, because I don't believe in
that. Different points in your life. All right.
I'm going Tennessee because everybody's on Oklahoma or Oregon State because of their run they made in the Pac-12.
I will say that if that happens, I'm willing to go with Tennessee, but not very far. But I'll give them that leash. Congratulations to Oregon State for winning their first Pac-12 championship. It's a hell of a way to do it. You got to do it.
What a run.
What a run. Okay. They're going to be playing the winner of Oklahoma State at the number 4 and Liberty.
It's who you beaten. Everybody is going to be on Liberty here for an upset pick because I remember when Liberty won a couple years ago. A lot of people like to do that. For what you used to do. VCU has a lot of that. This team beat Baylor.
This team has.
That's their feeling.
This team has the guy, right? This team has the guy.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to get into it until the next round because they do have the number 1 pick in the draft.
Right. So the question is, how high scoring is this game? Because Oklahoma State allows 73 points a game. And I know that they've been playing top 25 teams.
90 wins.
Yeah, but so Liberty averages 75 points a game and only allows less than 60 points a game against obviously much smaller competition. But damn, the drastic 77 points a game scoring versus a team that allows 59.6. So it is all about Cunningham. I mean, I know you're talking about the other stuff. It's about Cunningham. If he keeps making shots, despite everything they throw at him, there's no way Oklahoma State's losing this game.
No. Oklahoma State in a rout.
All right. So San Diego State versus Cuse. Talk to me. This is your team. Ish.
They don't deserve to be in. San Diego State.
Do you think they got in just because of name recognition alone?
Name on the shirt. Just like my name right here says IMG. Name on the shirt.
Got it. All right. Well, as a Uconn fan, I'm never going to be mad about Syracuse getting knocked out early in the tournament. So, okay. West Virginia versus Morehead State.
Huggy Bear. Huggy Bear. Press Virginia. I love me Press Virginia. My favorite player. Best name probably ever. Do you know who I'm thinking of? Who is the best name ever in the NCAA tournament?
From West Virginia?
Mm-hmm. You remember him as a young lad.
I don't remember anybody from West Virginia with a.
He was 6'9".
Yeah.
And he was a spread 5, and could shoot. He shot 43% from his career. Kevin Pittsnoggle.
That's right.
Yep.
Now I remember that name.
Kevin Pittsnoggle.
And he didn't play for Wisconsin. A spread, like Frank the Tank. I mean, that's what Wisconsin does.
Way before Frank the Tank.
Oh no, I know, but I'm just remembering, like, how did that guy not play for Wisconsin? It's like he's tailor-made for Wisconsin. Spread 5, 6'9", shoot threes. All right, fine. Well, on Pittsnoggle recognition alone, we're moving West Virginia forward.
I mean, he was on team 15 years ago, but I still love him.
All right, we got a couple more for the first round. Rutgers versus Clemson. I went out of order. Number 7 Clemson versus number 10 Rutgers. Rutgers barely broke 500 in. They're still in the Big East, right? Or not?
They're in the Big Ten, bud.
Big Ten. That's right.
Yeah, they barely broke it, but they also beat teams like Michigan State, Illinois, Maryland, Purdue. Who have you won? Who have you beat?
Clemson beat Alabama. Got crushed. 35-point loss to Virginia. Split with Florida State. Split with Georgia Tech. Split with Syracuse.
Listen, when you haven't been in the tournament for exactly 30 years, I'm taking the boys from Piscataway. Piscataway, the Jersey Turnpike, the Jersey Shore, Seaside, Mike the Situation, Paulie D, Snooky. What up, Rutgers? Give me Rutgers. East Piscataway, New Jersey.
Listen, I know you love our boy from that other network that we don't talk about, and I know you're pandering to him. And God, no, I hope you're watching this because every time he has an opportunity, Johnny picks Rutgers basically because of you. He's not going to say it, but I know the truth.
I'm taking Rutgers. I think they're going to win.
Listen, I love the description of Rutgers from the app, and so I got to go with it as well. Also, fuck Clemson, just in all things ever. So this is a throwback team, Rutgers. One that can't toss a stone in the ocean from beyond 22 feet, but will dig in defensively and block shots.
Like, that's Rob's cut. That's just like how Rob likes to play NCAA football. He runs
everything.
The triple option.
Play defense first.
Runs the triple option.
All right. Our last one. Gosh, Houston at a number 2 seed versus Cleveland State. What mascot is that? Is that a Viking?
They're the Norsemen, I think. And I think I just pulled that out of my ass.
No, they're the Vikings. They're the Vikings. They are the Vikings. Horizon League. They have the Defensive Player of the Year as a power guard. I mean, good for them. Good for you guys. Cleveland State. Sorry, guys. We're not doing that. Okay.
All right, up to the top of the bracket in the round of 32.
Yes, sir.
Gonzaga versus Missouri. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. Gonzaga moves on.
All right. I like it. Gonzaga's been terrorizing people. Let's keep it rolling.
UC Santa Barbara versus Virginia. I don't think we should spend a lot of time on this. Cinderella is over. Virginia moves on because they play great defense.
That's fair. I do like the Santa Barbara. Sorry, I don't even know what their mascot is, but I love their logo.
The Gauchos.
They are the Gauchos. Okay, because the hat, man. All right. And again, they're going to be going up against Gonzaga in the next round anyway. They can avoid that. Our next one.
Yes. USC versus Eastern Washington.
Yes,
Lots of points being scored here. Again, Cinderella slipper is coming off. The tournament starts shaking out the way it's supposed to, and USC moves on.
Oof. I don't know, man. I don't know. The issues, if Eastern Washington gets on to the next round, and again, throwing up buckets left and right like they did, or like they could do against Kansas, free throws. USC, terrible free throw shooting team. They got like one player. Eastern Washington, 80% as a team. I don't know. I'm willing to do that as the Cinderella, but that's just me. That's my pick for Cinderella.
Are we going to ride Eastern Washington and their red-ass football field? Because I'll ride. You want to know what's funny?
They don't got anything going on in football.
Filled out before this, and I actually picked Eastern Washington in the Sweet 16. Like, we literally had almost all of my picks exactly how I had it. But I had Eastern Washington moved on, but I just switched it to USC because I was like, I was probably going to pick USC here. If you want to ride Eastern Washington, I had them picked.
Free throw shooting. This is time and time again. Play defense, shoot free throws. You have a better shot than a team that can shoot but not shoot free throws, which is USC. USC is literally that team. So I'm okay. I don't even know if Eastern Washington is going to get out of the first round, but if they're there, I think they have a great shot against USC.
All right, so we're going to go on. Eastern Washington, next round. Oregon, Iowa. Bohannon, Luka Garza, Iowa.
Okay. I'm okay with that. All right. To the east, number 1 Michigan versus number 8 LSU.
We said if they get hot. We said if they win the first game.
This is the game to put up or shut up. Do you think they can pull
LSU.
it up? I like LSU. Fuck it. Let's go.
I like LSU. I literally have it.
Points a game.
I literally have this.
We can't. Oh, there. 82 fucking points a game.
I haven't moved on. I haven't touched it.
Yep, I see it.
You see my next picks too. I'm not pandering. This is exactly who I have. So I like LSU.
Go Tigers. All right. So next matchup, Florida State versus Colorado. Not to be confused with Colorado State versus Florida, which would be a much different.
This is backcourt versus front court. And we all know what wins in college basketball is the backcourt and the guard play. I like Colorado.
All right. I mean, my parents met I'm from Colorado, born in Colorado. So I'm not going to be mad about either of these picks, but I will go with guard play every time because I couldn't play front court to save my life. All right. Michigan State versus Texas. Shaka Smart versus Izzo.
I mean, I like Shaka here.
You like Shaka here? I think he has more talent.
I think the talent's there, and I think he's a good enough coach to knock off Izzo.
Okay. All right. So UConn versus Iona. You're gonna do it.
Your team.
You're gonna do it to me.
I have it picked in here, so I'm gonna let you do your thing. I'm telling you, it's Rick Pitino, and Rick Pitino's going up against UConn.
I know.
Cinderella will be dancing at least a couple times. You know that there's going to be at least multiple double-digit teams in, and why not ride the guy with the slick back hair who's connected to the mafia.
I mean, there's so many coaches that look like vampires in this game, and that is one of them. So you're going to say that we're going down to Pitino from Iona?
Yeah. I think that's a great way to go out, too. I don't think that that's a shameful way to go out.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Because, again, it's still Rick Pitino. He's still a top 5 coach, maybe ever.
What's interesting is that they have very, very similar, other than the BPI, very, very similar, record stats.
And I looked at all that. If you want to know where I give Hurley's a great coach. Comes from Duke. I love Duke. He's not Pitino.
No, he's not. All right. I will go with it.
I think next year might be UConn's year or the year after. It's just I'm going to roll with Cinderella here.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. UConn is 0-4 against top 25 teams. I believe all of those teams are from the Big East. Very, very weak conference. I get it. I get where you're coming from. So, yeah. Ugh. All right, fine. Fucking Pitino.
Sorry, Rob. I just.
That's okay. That's all right. I understand.
I don't have them going much farther, but it's
well, Pitino. And I wouldn't have UConn going much farther either, for the record. So I'm willing to go with you on that. We'll ride. Well, since you rode my Cinderella pick, we'll ride your Cinderella pick. All right. So go ahead. Tell us about the South.
Baylor, North Carolina. I don't know.
Baylor has a very strong showing all year. They throw up tons of points, 84.5.
But
they're 13-1.
Roy Williams have the talent and coaching to beat them.
Yeah, but he always has the talent to beat anybody, everybody. I'm not saying that he can't. It's Baylor is 22-2 from the Big 12.
All right, we'll roll with Baylor. You persuaded me.
Like, holy shit, 13-1 in conference play. Like, that's a strong fucking team. Now, again, 9 times out of 10, I think if they play, 5, 6, 7 times in a row, Baylor will win most of them. I'm not saying that North Carolina can't beat them and Roy Williams can pull one out of his ass. I just can't. I'm not going to do it for this year anyway. North Carolina, the whole ACC has been weak. So
see, unlike Pitino, the talent from UConn and Iona isn't that far off. Yeah. With Baylor and North Carolina,
it's not far off in theory, but in practice, it's been wildly different. Yeah. Wildly different.
Okay, so Baylor moves on. Next, we have a Cinderella in 12 for Winthrop versus Purdue. Rob.
Yeah. All right, so
I know where I'm going. So
you want to go Winthrop? You want to roll?
I actually picked, and I have Purdue.
Oh, okay.
I do pick Cinderellas, but I'm also smart and calculated on where I go.
Mm.
And I like the way that Purdue has played. They're in a great conference. They played the great competition. They play great defense, and they can hit timely threes.
My biggest thing is that Winthrop they play 11 deep. They got a ton of guys. My issue is that none of those guys are going to match up well against the tallest roster in the Big Ten.
Right.
They just, those guys don't, they will be pushed and they will be worn down potentially, but they're all tall enough to, play defense. So I'm okay with that. I was like, we're going to keep rolling on the SoCon train, but that's okay. All right. Arkansas versus Texas Tech. I'm picking Arkansas.
We'll roll with Arkansas. I had no problem. I think that's going to be one of the best games in the tournament.
That's fair. That's very fair. They've played each other before. I know everybody wants to pick Texas Tech. That's fair. Arkansas they got a bone to pick with Texas Tech. And also they're just a really good team.
It's fine.
So anyway.
Next round, Florida versus Ohio State.
Whoa. Florida versus not right. Okay. I'm sorry. So we were still in the South, right? I'm not losing it.
It was Virginia. We did pick Virginia Tech to win.
We did. I just want to make sure we're still in the South bracket as well.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway. Round out the South bracket.
Yeah, it's Ohio State.
It's Ohio State. This is what we already decided, I think, before when we picked it.
I think as a 2 seed, Ohio State has the easiest 2 seed to the Sweet 16.
What else is new? Okay. Which means they'll somehow fuck it up.
With all the upsets that we have picked,
Yes.
This is how brackets are supposed to be. You're supposed to have upsets. You know, if you look at that South region, we have 1, 4, 2, 3.
We do.
I'm just saying that's how you're supposed to pick a bracket.
We don't have that in any
in
other
our top bracket in the East, we have 8, 5, 3, 15. That's crazy. But there's always that one that is way out there. And then in the other bracket, we have 1, 4, and then a 14 versus a 2, which there's always that one that has that one outlier. I'm just saying. So if we go chalk here and we don't mean to, because I didn't pick that like that. That's just how it happened.
I know.
We're doing the bracket, boys.
Yeah.
And if this goes chalk here, I think we have a phenomenal bracket, is all I'm saying.
We'll see. I mean, we always feel good about our brackets.
With that being said, I'm picking Illinois over Georgia Tech.
And we picked Loyola. Remember, I convinced you.
Yes,
you that we'd have this Illinois matchup, Illinois versus Loyola, and I do think Illinois will win. But there's going to be a lot of Catholic guilting going on during the game, and I think that will make it very, very fun for me to watch. All right. Tennessee versus Oklahoma State. We are not picking Tennessee, right?
Moving on. Oklahoma State, easy win.
Okay. West Virginia versus San Diego State.
Just like before, huggy, press, athletes, length.
That's how they beat the shit out of Illinois last time I saw the two of them play. We're not going to get there just yet, but Jesus, I'm just having flashbacks still from back when I was going to law school, which is another reason I'm having flashbacks. All right. Houston versus Rutgers. You're going to keep pushing the Rutgers Cinderella story?
I got to give respect where respect is due. All the tough teams that they went against this year, except for one, they lost, but they also split against Wichita State. Give me Houston because they're one of the hotter teams, and I want this side of the bracket to be chalk, just like I said it would be. And we have a great fucking bracket. This is how brackets are supposed to end up. They really are. There's always that one. If you go back in time, and there's always that one that's really fucked up. The two that are perfect, even though you have like a little bit of like how they get there might not be. I know, like the 6 seed beats the 10. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that one where there's that one big Cinderella that's out of nowhere.
So who's going to be that Cinderella this year? I mean, let's find out. Let's do the round of 16.
Let's do our Sweet 16. Let's see who our Sweet 16 is. So our Sweet 16 teams are: we have a 1 seed in Gonzaga, a 4 seed in Virginia.
And so let's pick that Gonzaga versus Virginia. I think Gonzaga.
Gonzaga beat them by 23 earlier in the year. I'm going to go with Gonzaga.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be 23, but I think it'll be a win for Gonzaga. So, Eastern Washington, 14 seed versus number 2 Iowa.
Hey man, everybody. Sometimes you just got to go home.
I mean, that's fair. A 1 versus a 2. I get it.
Sometimes you just got to go home, and Iowa moves on. Okay.
So let's look at the next bracket. One of them is going to be technically a Cinderella because it's an 8 versus a 5.
It's a lower good team.
Yeah. LSU versus Colorado. Who do you got?
I'm taking the guard play.
Okay. And so does that mean, because my thing is that well, okay, fine.
And
here's my one thing.
The first line of the thing is what you've been arguing the whole time. A phenomenal free throw shooting team. That's the first thing that they say about them.
Yep. No, I know. And so my biggest thing is that Colorado, the thing they're going to excel at against LSU, that everybody can excel at, is getting inside and scoring, interior defense. So if you're relying on guard play, they better be fucking slashing all night. Because if it's about shooting, again, a shootout does not help Colorado.
No, I think it's guard play, dishing the ball. I think not. When I say guard play, I don't mean I mean like controlling the game.
Yeah, I get it. All right. Shaka Smart versus Rick Pitino.
Like I said, sometimes you just got to go home. Good run. Great job. Shaka, you are now the new king. Give me Texas.
It is so crazy.
That is finally when the talent outweighs the coaching.
Most likely, yes. Okay. Baylor versus Purdue in the South. Do you think Purdue has a chance? They're tall. They're tall.
Baylor.
Okay. I agree with that. I agree with that. We did have a number 1 seed get knocked out early, but all the rest of them seem to be rolling towards the Final Four, or at least the Grade 8. Arkansas versus Ohio State.
Give me the mush bush. Give me Arkansas.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So I hate to say this about Ohio State, but they keep the ball and they shoot the free throws well. So I'm worried about that. I'm not super worried about that. I'm just pointing it out that the reason why Ohio State, they will not turn the ball over very often and they will make a lot of free throws. So it'll be boring as fuck, but if Ohio State wins, it'll be orderly, keep the ball, drain the clock, get fouled, free throw. All right, but we'll go with Arkansas. I'm cool with that. I think it'll be a much more exciting game if it's Arkansas versus Baylor. Here's the toughest one of all of them for me in the Sweet 16. Illinois versus Oklahoma State. I want Illinois to do well. I think they have good enough players to contain the best player in.
Listen to me. Cockburn and Corbello and Asamonu, whoever you say that. That's 3. What's 3 minus 1? It's 2. They have 2. Too many good players. Give me Illinois in a very close one. Unless he can score 45 points, which he won't do, because I think Cockburn will actually play very good defense against him. Give me Illinois in a nail biter.
Because they're going to be doing that a lot, I think. I think Cockburn is going to get drafted.
I honestly think if this happens, if this lines up, best game of the tournament.
Those two guys going back and forth, I think, is going to be
best game of the tournament.
Yeah, because we're going to see that in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that's hands down the best game of the tournament.
Well, okay, so let's talk about West Virginia versus Houston. I know who you want to win, and I honestly am okay with it. Again, seeing that rematch of rematches.
I mean, it's press Virginia for me.
I think that's fair. I think that Houston will not be ready for that kind of press. I think they have enough talent to overcome it, but they have to play very disciplined, because if you don't, press Virginia will get you. And I don't see Houston doing that. I think they're good. I just, even their wins, they're 1-0 versus top 25, versus 5-7 in West Virginia. Okay.
Sorry, I'm filling out the bracket right now on the YouTube. So, Rob, go ahead. You got to do the matchup because I lost my bracket.
Okay, we're in the Grade 8. So each of our representatives, we have the number 1 versus number 2 seed coming out of the West, Gonzaga versus Iowa. Do you see Gonzaga losing here? It's really the question.
Now, do you think they can make up for the loss they had earlier in the year?
When they lost by 11?
I think with Garza and Bohannon and the other white kid, I don't see Gonzaga ever winning a national title. So I like Iowa.
And you think they're going to lose to Iowa because of Garza and Bohannon and Frederick?
Frederick, that was his name.
Yes. And maybe Joe Wieskamp.
I think Luka came back for a reason.
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. So coming out of the East, number 5 Colorado versus number 3 Texas. Who will be coming out of there to play Iowa in the Final Four?
I mean, player for player, very good matchup. So do you go coaching? And if you go coaching, you got to give it to Shaka, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I love Colorado in that they remind me very strongly of UConn when they made their run. Guard play, phenomenal free throw shooting team. So my question is, will Shaka have an answer for that? What would be the answer for that? You know, and we're not basketball people, so I don't know. But he has to find a way to limit the guard play, right? And still score enough so that free throws don't make a difference down the line. It's possible.
I think Texas with the have just a little bit better athletes, and they have a better coach.
Well, okay. I guess what I would say is there's got to be a guy for Colorado, right? It can't be like we've got two guys. That's great, but one guy has to step up. And I just don't know that Colorado has the one guy. They have guys.
They have guys, plural. That's what got them that far. Their defense, like I said, their guard play is tremendous, but they don't have a takeover guard. They have good guards.
Right.
So I like Iowa moving on, playing Texas in the Final Four.
Okay. All right. Let's move to South. Baylor versus Arkansas. High scoring game. I mean, every game with the Gonzaga is going to be high scoring too. Like let's not get it wrong. Gonzaga averages 92 points a game, but these two teams 82 and 84 points a game each. This should be pretty wild.
Give me Arkansas playing amazing defense and hitting some threes to Cinderella into the Final Four.
Okay. I see you. I don't believe you, but I see you.
If Baylor doesn't shoot the threes that well, I think Arkansas can knock them off. And I think Arkansas has the athletes to play on the edge that can prevent them from shooting threes well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't disbelieve it. I don't see, that guy that pops out at me and says that's who's going to lead them there. But maybe they don't need to. So, okay.
Our Final Four, we have Iowa versus Texas and Arkansas versus Illinois.
Okay. Well, see, we haven't talked about. So you think Illinois is going to
in a route
exercise those demons? Okay.
I think that's the biggest blowout of the Elite Eight.
Well, I guess coming after such a big game, beating OK State makes sense.
So, like I said, Iowa, Texas, Arkansas, Illinois. That's a 2 versus a 3 and a 3 versus a 1, which is almost chalk, right where you want to be. You don't want to have a fucking 8-seed or a 10-seed or you want to have one. Pretty much the highest you want to go is a 3.
Okay.
And only once ever in 2009 was there all 1 seeds. It doesn't happen.
That is very true. We did take out our 1 seed very early though. So, and we decided that 2 of the other 3 1 seeds just barely missed the Final Four.
Which is what it's supposed to be.
That's fair. So, Iowa versus Texas. Who do you have in this? I just don't think. I think whoever wins this game is going to lose to the winner of the other side of the bracket.
It's funny that you say that. Because, they say coaches can only get you so far.
Mm-hmm.
The names that I've named for Iowa are stars. I like Iowa by 8 points.
Okay. I got you. I'm on board with that.
Again, Luka came back for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Ohanon is a stud. Frederick is a good player. And
they do have a lot of strong players, and they're all leaders. Well, Luke is definitely.
They're all upperclassmen, and they're just great. They've all been together for so long.
That's true. So does this mean, who's going to win on the other side? Because if it's Illinois, then we have a Big Ten championship.
Well, if you watch the Spiked College Football Show, you know how I feel about the Big Ten. And there's no way in hell that I can actually let 2 Big Ten teams win championship. But I'm also a man of integrity. I'm a man who gives the people, I'm a straight shooter. I give the people what I think they deserve. And I love Illinois by 14 points over Arkansas.
So Illinois beat Iowa twice in the regular season. Do you think they will be able to do it a third time? I mean, obviously,
Oh,
a lot of
are
assumptions.
you agreeing with Illinois over
I'm always
Arkansas?
going to agree with Illinois. This is the year, man. This is the fucking year. If there's ever a time when Illinois can actually do something besides women's volleyball, this is the year. We have never done this shit since
Oh, Rob,
Grange and Dick Buckus. We don't have
what's the old adage in college football and the NFL? It's really hard to beat a team how many times?
3 times.
Thank God this is basketball. Thank God for Kofi Cockburn. Give me the Chief. Give me the Illini in a 78-74 final with Cockburn hitting a three. Then the foul ensues afterwards. It's a tie game at 73. He hits a three to make it 76, hits 2 more free throws, 78, 75. Give me Illinois.
I mean, dude, if you call it, I'm like I said, I'm never gonna doubt you again.
And that's what I had picked the entire time. I had that exact score picked. I had it all picked.
I mean, I'm wearing my orange. I've got my Illinois shit around here. I would be very glad to see that in just for the return. Let's put it this way. If Illinois is ever going to pull it off one time, because we're really a big basketball school, like that's just, I graduated from law school in the basketball gym, the gymnasium. They have it all set aside because we're a basketball school first, every other sport second and third. At one point, football was probably seventh. So this is a big deal. I would love to see that happen for one of my alma maters, and I'm hoping that it works out. I just I really hope that we get to this point where they're in the finals so that we could be talking about this shit. That's really the biggest thing for me, is that they always have this like lineup and they're ready to go, and they fuck it up. I don't know if they've even made a final at this point. I know that they haven't in a very long time, and this is the year for it to happen because they've got all the stuff lined up. They've got focus, don't get COVID, like just fucking lock in and do your shit. They don't have this extraneous nonsense going on that usually comes with all of the hoopla. So that's what I'm hoping for.
There we go. And did you think that I was going to go that way?
I mean, I was hoping. I know where I went to school.
So that is the first ever episode of the Bracket Boys. It was the March Madness edition. Thank you for listening. Go ahead. We have it. It should be out by before the tournament should be out. Go ahead, give us a listen. It's already on the Twitter, so you can go ahead and comment on how terrible you think we did, how of our picks. Now, all you're looking at is the picks. Give it a listen, and you can see why we got to the way we were, because people are going to see Iona. They're going to be like, these guys are fucking high. We give good examples of why.
I mean, we did give it a watch, give it a listen. We'll be posting this on YouTube. You'll see this on YouTube. You'll be hearing us for the podcast. Check us out. Iron Ostrich Network is going to be up and running soon. People, check it out. I'll have to come up with
coming with a new spiked episode weekly, starting after the tournament, with brackets on brackets on brackets, because brackets should never end. To be honest, even the college football season, I think we'll be doing a bracket a week, because, to be honest, brackets never lie to you. They don't let you down. They don't steal your money. They're just there. They're comforting. You get to write in them. You get to see your teams move on. You get to get pissed when teams that you don't want to win. And then, like I said, give us some ideas of what brackets you want us to do. And maybe you can come on and do brackets with us. I know we have a couple things for music and some maybe some Disney. We'll see what we're gonna do. So you just give us some ideas. We'll do some brackets, And then you can come join us and we'll do a bracket with you because we're nobody famous. Just come and do a bracket with us and we'll talk about, I don't know, the top fucking country songs in America or, the top jerseys that you've ever had, top sports jerseys. We'll do something.
We just need 64 of something to list.
Give us 64 something to list. So we'll put it up on Johnny's big board and we'll write them in.
And that's all we need, guys. So thanks for hanging out with us. As always,
subscribe, share, all that others. Comment.
OnlyFans. Johnny's got an OnlyFans.
Tell me I'm a fat fuck. I'm getting in shape, though. So you can't really say that. Say that I'm ugly, which we know that that's not true because I have beautiful green eyes. But you can do that. Do whatever you feel is necessary, but it's not true. If you want to call Rob names, you can't because he's gorgeous. So it's kind of hard to make fun of us. So if you have good ones, come give us. Come get at me because our picks are phenomenal. Our looks are phenomenal. And I mean, all I do is win no matter what. But make sure you like it, subscribe, share, comment, and we would love some feedback.
And as always, guys, from Spike Johnny B and Spiked Rob, keep spiking it.
Boom. Good episode, fucker.
Not bad.